Hey, what's going on everyone? It's your boy LOZA, and as we know, Dragoon is coming to Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel thanks to the Decade leaks. We know this is true.
You may be thinking, wow, you leaked that this is getting unbanned, it didn't get unbanned. It's going to be unbanned with the pack that it comes out in. So when that pack should be within 2 weeks if it is coming out the start of December like it did last year, where the Dragon Rulers got unbanned.
So let's get into the top 10 ways to summon Dragoon in your Dark Magician or sometimes not even Dark Magician deck. Number 1, we'll be starting off with Rod and Magician Souls. Now a lot of these combos will start out this way because we are unsure whether Anaconda will be going on the next potential, Dragoon release ban list. We know the December ban list has not banned Anaconda, nor has it unreleased Dragoon, as per my last video. But we are unsure whether, Dragoon's release will come with, say, a Christmas deal, perhaps 2025, the year of the Red Eyes, kind of as a theme. We're not quite sure. But as we know, as of right now, Anaconda is legal, so I'm going to show you how to use Anaconda, and that does mean you don't have to be playing Dark Magician to make this combo work. But it is really nifty that we can send that Soul Servant for a draw with your Magician Souls before you start this combo. So Rod and Soul Servant are baiting hand traps like the Imperm Veiler, so your Anaconda hopefully resolves, as you can see here, and it will send that Red Eyes Fusion, able to fuse your Dark Magician and Red Eyes in your deck to make the Dragoon. And not to mention, you can now Soul Servant and actually get some more draws, because Red Eyes Fusion put Dark Magician in your grave, Soul Servant put DMG or even Mana or Mahad, whatever you want, and there you see our 2-card combo ends on Dragoon and 3 cards in hand. So if that was a 5-card hand, you would be ending with 6 cards in your hand. Like, that's sensational. So combo number 1 was kind of the stock standard deal with, Anaconda Dragoon things. Now we're going to look at something a lot more linear. Just Red Eyes Insight and Red Eyes Fusion when you open them raw. Now some people think they're bricks, but they're actually fine. Now, in this example, we have 2 cards in hand, but you can just ignore that Ash. It's simply there to be like, hey, you've got a negate. So in this case, Insight sending Meteor Dragon is kind of huge, and we'll see on the follow-up turn, which a lot of people don't plan for, but sometimes your opponent can beat over your Dragoon with access code or some other things like Droplet, Tactics, all these other things. But normally, they have to expend a lot of resources to get there, so you'll actually find some games with Dragoon, you actually, your Dragoon gets out of it, you don't actually die, because your opponent has to normally do a bunch of things to get around a 4k negate that's, indestructible. So I've found that playing a second way to Dragoon can be quite good, whether that's Magical Eyes Fusion, whether that's Anaconda sending the Magical Eyes Fusion, or whether it's something as simple as what we're going to see right here, which is the Meteor Dragon Graveyard Effect, which a lot of people don't really consider. So you have your draw for turn, of course, which can net you away to Red Eyes Fusion, but you've also got just the good old Meteor Dragon Banish effect. Now this adds a Red Eyes Fusion from grave or deck, so it doesn't actually matter whether you're playing multiple Red Eyes Fusion or just the one, because you can still go and get it. It's kind of huge. So we're going to be able to send DM and Red Eyes again to summon our second Dragoon on turn 2 or onwards, which I find, yes, you have to play an extra brick, but if you're playing like a rev heavy build, this is actually pretty optimal in my opinion. This will win you get more games than it bricks you, and in a best of 1 format, if you do open that brick hand, you can just scoop and move on. Alright, we're up to number 3 now. This is going to be a double Dragoon. You just need to open Magical Eyes Fusion with your standard Rod and Souls, and I'll guide you through it all again. Now, Souls is going to put Dark Magician in the grave here. Oh, no, I lied, sorry. You actually have to summon the Dark Magician here, and that is crucial for this combo to work, because you need to get to Imdoc, a Link 1 that is a dragon. But before we do that, Rod is going to go ahead and add probably Soul Servant here, because honestly, you just need a Dragoon discard at this point, and Soul Servant's probably the best one, because you can banish it and draw on your next turn. So it's a nice way to recur that discard from Dragoon. But obviously this turn, that Soul Servant's just going to sit in our hand. But here is Imdoc, which we've summoned off the Dark Magician, and now we're going to make our Anaconda. But before we do any fusion summoning from Anaconda, we're going to fusion summon using the Magical Eyes Fusion in our hand. Now, Magical Eyes can be seen as a brick, but think about it this way: if you just play the one Magicalized, you can actually go on Anaconda in the mid to late game and make another Dragoon. If you've already used Ref, for example, or another way to make, Dragoon, you've probably milled the pieces. So Magicalized kind of is really good in the mid to grind game where your opponent's out of your Dragoon too, and you can just go into a second one if you hard draw it. Or if you don't, you can once again Anaconda it, and that's really nifty too. Yeah, so Magicalized also with Magician Souls can just make a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, as you've seen here. If you have the extra extender like Magician's Rod to normal summon, you can actually end on this board you're going to see right now with double Dragoon and a card in hand. So it is a 3-card combo, but a 3-card combo that ends with a card in hand, and obviously you should have in theory 2 other cards that you had in your hand. That's pretty good. 2 negates, you gotta love to see it. Now this 4th way, where we're not actually going to show it, but it is just kind of what I talked about just then. It's Magicalized Fusion being sent from Anaconda, which is kind of the same thing, right? Or once again, just hard drawing Magicalized Fusion on a turn after you've used Anaconda Send Ref, for example. It makes Magicalized Fusion this insane top deck. That means, you know, you don't even need Anaconda to summon Dragoon, you're just going to win the game. Okay, number 5 is going to be one that a lot of people seem to enjoy, so I thought I'd chuck it in here. Branded Fusion. Now, of course, Branded Fusion has been put to 1 on the ban list. I have a scenario in the 6th example, so just wait for that. But in the meantime, for people who are just hard opening Branded Fusion because they're goated, you are going to go ahead and make Lubellion off sending Albaz and Dark Magician. Lubellion does, of course, need a discard, so there is the disadvantage compared to Red Eyes Fusion, which does not need a discard. You obviously also need a discard for Dragoon Negate, so I'm not a big fan of Branded Fusion going into Dragoon like this. There's other lines of play that will get you there too using Branded Fusion, which we'll touch on soon. I just thought I'd show off the most obvious way, but of course we're lacking that card in hand to discard. But once again, you would have a 5-card hand most of the time, which isn't too bad. Number 6. This is how you can use Branded Fusion from the deck. And if you've watched my How to Summon Dark Magician the Dragon Knight in Master Duel very consistently, you would know what this combo is going to do. We actually are going to utilize a branded card that should probably be on the ban list. So we're going to open the usual Rod Souls combo. Rod can just go get you the Soul Servant, and Souls is just going to put Dark Magician in the grave, because we're actually going to be able to send something else later. First, we're going to get a cheeky draw, because drawing is cool, and it can also bait hand traps. So Veiler and Imperm can stop Anaconda, obviously, but if you can bait it with the Rod effect, or even the Soul Servant, the Magician Souls draw, that's huge, because now is what you really want to do, and that is sending Branded Fusion off your Anaconda here. So if you don't like Ref, this might be the play you want to go for. Summoning the Albion off sending Mahad and also Albaz. That is huge. Getting a second brick in the grave here now, so you're going to get a double draw off that Soul Servant you just sent for a draw as well. Drawing potentially more hand traps, floodgates, disruptions, whatever you got. Now you're going to need a card to discard for your opponent's turn. You're actually going to need 2. One for Dragoon Negate, one for the Albion effect here, or the Albaz effect here. So Albion can go off in the draw phase. Albion can't actually be targeted by Imperm or Veiler, which is kind of huge. Obviously Albaz can though, so you normally want to summon these in defense mode, but I'm going to be a bit risky here and put them in attack mode for the sake of showing off the combo. Now you're just going to trigger your own Albaz here and give your opponent your Dark Magician, discarding anything you like, and yeah, just getting yourself Dragoon. So this is a way you summon Dragon Knight in Master Duel because Anaconda's legal, but yeah, you can also use it to just summon Dragoon, of course. Now this does rely on you running a small branded package, but honestly it's just one Branded Fusion, one Albaz, and playing Mahad, which I think is kind of fine for Dark Magician, to be honest. Getting into number 7, we're going back to Rod and Souls, the Dark Magician bread and butter opener. These combos, or the next 2 at least, are going to be more focused on just some generic Dark Magician ways to do things, because you know what, at the end of the day, a lot of people just want to play pure Dark Magician, so let me give you some pure Dark Magician ways to actually get to our most insane boss monster. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon is definitely a reason to pick up the deck, or, you know, just play Dark Magician in general, because let's be real, a lot of Dark Magician's cards are not very strong, and it does feel like Dragoon was kind of meant to be the card that fixed our deck or gave us a game plan. Some people love that, some people hate that, so regardless of whether you're column A or column B, let's just embrace the fact that we can do a Dark Magician combo that is a 2-card combo of Rod and Souls that does get us to Dragoon. Of course, no extra card in the hand to discard. Potentially the other 3 cards in your hand can help, or you can maybe play like Call By and Cross Out to ensure you get to this location, which is Dragoon. Gotta love to see it. Now this way is probably the way a lot of people thought of doing Dragoon summoning, but number 8 is really my least favorite way, unfortunately. It's the way a lot of fans love to do it, and I appreciate the fans of Dark Magician who just love Eye of Demise. There is a massive fan base of Dark Magician enjoyers who just thrive for Eye of Demise to be good, and I'm sorry, but it's just not searchable, so it's just not gonna be, you know, viable. If you like to play Eye of Demise to summon your Dragoon, by all means you can do it, but going second, it's really not as good as Ref, and it's also just, it's so impossible to open Eye of Demise, and even if you do, you could open it alongside no way to summon Dark Magician, which then of course means the card is dead. And yeah, look, we all know what the nail in the coffin is for Eye of Timaeus, and that's going to be demonstrated by me normal summoning Rod right now. Rod is going to go and get Soul Servant, because look, oh, it can't add Eye of Timaeus. Well, maybe Soul Servant can stack it, right? It's got Dark Magician in its text, right? Right? Well, apparently no. If you have a look here, there's no option for Eye of Timaeus, yet Eye of Timaeus is in my graveyard. So the problem is, for some reason, on the text of Eye of Timaeus, it actually states Dark Magician monster instead of just Dark Magician. So we're just going to add Circle off this Soul Servant. But yeah, it's really grim that this card says target one Dark Magician monster you control instead of just Dark Magician you control, because it was made to work with Dark Magician Girl and DM, which ultimately made the card worse. Alright, enough ranting about Eye of Timaeus. Let's move on to round number 9, and this is a very special one. Invoked with Magician Souls here is just insane. You can open Alistair, but you get less value than opening Meltdown. Meltdown gives you incredible value, and you're going to see exactly why. Now, Meltdown is a great spell that adds you Alistair, but also protects your fusion summons. We don't really care about the protecting the fusion summons. What we do care about is getting a negate before our Anaconda, which means, you know, we can hopefully negate our opponent trying to negate our Anaconda. If they do use Imperm though, you've got to have a trap in hand, which is hard. We get a cheeky draw with Magician Souls here, but also Alistair and Magician Souls effect are a great bait for Imperm Veiler. But if your opponent knows what you're doing, they might hold their Imperm Veiler for later. Don't forget to make your Artemis here like I nearly did. Go into your Artemis with your Alistair or your Souls, it doesn't really matter. Go ahead and make your Anaconda, and then of course, you're going to be blasting to a Dragoon, but not just yet. The invocation first, folks, because this is your 5th summon. This also plays into Nibiru, but it does get a negate on the 5th summon, so banishing Artemis and Alistair with invocation, summoning the invoked Mechaba, and then you're going to want to do one more thing before you do Anaconda effect, and that's recycle your invocations. You got to do this, guys. Super important. Get the Alistair in the hand because it's a monster for Mechaba's monster negate. Yes, we have an Ash here, but you could have drawn anything off that draw, so you're going to want to do that first, so you can negate Veiler just in case they do Veiler your Anaconda effect right here, summoning out your Dragoon. So being able to hit a Mechaba and a Dragoon turn 1 off a 2-card combo, and if you look at our hand, there is 2 cards in our hand. So we've gone net neutral in card advantage. Well, actually, we've gone +3, but you know what I mean. 2 cards still in the hand, 3 cards on the field. Pretty sensational. As I said, this does lose to Nibiru, but hey, we can actually use one of our negates here and go up to 4k, and just say, hey, look, the opponent did get one of our negates. We should still have 5 cards in the hand, is that right? 4 cards in the hand, sorry, and be able to negate plenty more on the opponent's turn. So, just sensational, to be honest. Alright, here we are at the very, very final, the 10th way to summon Dragoon. Now, I actually don't think I optimized this. I'll leave the comment section to actually foolproof this. Go Kick Rocks is definitely going to make a crazy combo to do this awesome, you know, synchro stuff at the end here. I couldn't quite get the synchro stuff noted out, but it is Magician Souls and Toy Box, which many of you would know is just a sensational engine for Dark Magician, because Dark Magician and, you know, sending spells and traps for draws is just really good. For some reason, our spells and traps aren't good enough for Magician Souls to send and get value off. The Toy Box, oh man, the Toy Box monsters give us value out the wazoo, and it's just great that this engine was actually played by Yugi in the manga, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga, so, you know, anyone who's a denier of these cards in Dark Magician, I understand why. Like, yes, they aren't inherently Dark Magician themed, but they are at least Yugi themed, and you know what, that's pretty good for me. Honestly, I'm happy to play them, even if they're not Yugi themed, because I just want to win with my favorite deck, and if I have to play some toys to do it, I'm gonna do it. So we're gonna actually go and add Quem off the Toy Soldier effect here on his summon, and Quem's gonna send Cartesia. We're then gonna go into Artemis, which actually will trigger the Quem. There might be a better way to do this next bit of the combo, so down in the comments, help me out here if there's a better way to do what I'm about to do. Quem will activate, summoning Cartesia. That's pretty lit. We're now going to use Toy Tank and float into the Apprentice. Apprentice can add us Dark Magician. So yeah, Souls actually sent Apprentice at the start of this combo instead of Dark Magician, which is pretty unusual, but it actually ends up being quite cool, because you keep a body and you get a Dark Magician here, so yeah, I don't know, it's quite interesting. Now there's so many lines of play from here. You can go into Chaos Angel, Savage, there's a lot of things you can do from here. What we're going to do, which once again, I'm still not 100% sure this is the optimal path. I'm definitely sure there's a better way to do it, but we are going to go into this Dragon Link 2 which can actually help you extend further if you do have a card in the hand that has the same attribute as something on the field. We're not going to do that because we're just going to play it like we got these cards in our hand, that's all we got. So we're going to fuse using the Dragon and the Dark Magician in our hand. That's going to be pretty good. If we do have the Blue Eyes Link one, we're able to summon Dragon Knight here instead, which isn't as good because we're locked in the dragons, but still it'd be more card efficient. We're then going to make Borreload Savage. I should have used the Cartesia here. I don't know if it wasn't letting me for some reason, but I might have just clicked Clem first by accident. But anyway, Borreload Savage here, going to equip the level 2 Link Dragon from the bin, giving him big stat and 2 negati counters. So pretty cool for a 2-card combo, if I do say so myself, and that combo didn't have a normal summon. It did add one later though, so I really like this. I think there's a way to make this better though, so let me know in the comments which was your favorite of the 10 combos, and how could you make combo 10 better. There's 2 great comments right there. Don't forget you could feature in the next video comment section as well. So yeah, please drop something down there, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support me in the channel. And yeah, shoutouts to all of my members as well. The DM Royal Army is cracked. I'll catch you guys on the next one when Dragoon is absolutely popping off in Master Duel. Peace.
I know I'm not the first gamer crying, but I really hate that we got no Dragoon. Can we have Dragoon in Master Duel, please? Or I will say a slur live on stream. I'll do it.